What? Hold on. Okay, now we're stabilized. What's up, guys? Dr. Mo here, digital nomad physician at digitalnomadphysician.com. You can email me, drmo at digitalnomadphysician.com. This is the Madrid apartment that we're staying in. We're going to be here for 2 months. Kind of talked about it a little bit. I'm a family medicine doctor. I'm working remotely. I am a digital nomad physician, hence the name of the website, digitalnomadphysician.com. And I am recovering from my surgery. You guys can see it's still pretty damn crazy. But man, that surgeon did such a good job. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. But still can't bend the wrist. But I'm getting a lot of hand function back. Still can't extend my hand all the way. Can't touch these two together. Maybe almost. All right, haven't done my physical therapy for the morning. So we're October 16th, 17th, something like that. I'm cooking a little bit. I got some potatoes in the oven. I got some zucchini. I'm mostly vegetarian, vegan, really. And I got my tablet here so I can take you guys through what I'm going to talk about today. So I decided to talk about real estate again because real estate is one of those things that is, for me, is both an investment, but it's also a good way to sort of create a little bit of flexibility in my lifestyle and the way I like to live. For example, I'm not somebody who wants something fancy, like a big house, lots of space. In fact, I've tried that. Over the years, I've stayed in Airbnbs that have been bigger with my girlfriend, and it wasn't enjoyable. It was too big, too many rooms, too much to clean. I like to sweep the floor, I like to clean the windows, and keep everything kind of tidy. But it's just too much work, and so I never enjoyed that. And probably after really changing the way I lived, from being a big spender when I became a young attending, driving a Hummer, I was $150,000 in credit card debt, and I was $250,000 in student loan debt. Got the Hummer lease that I was leasing. It was just a lot. And I bought my first property back then, but it was just a bad decision the way I bought it. I didn't handle it very good. It was in Carmel Valley in San Diego, so a really beautiful area. And I think if I had kept it, looking back, I think it would have still been a great investment, but I just didn't know how to really do that properly. So maybe it's okay that I got rid of it. And then I bought another condo that was like $500,000 or a little bit over $500,000 in a penthouse in downtown San Diego. So the first property I bought was 2007 in San Diego. I was still a resident at UCLA, but I decided to just take the Amtrak back and forth and just work on it. And I did everything myself. I renovated the whole place myself. I mean, the whole place, everything I renovated. I mean, I had to run gas lines and water pipes and run electrical lines and everything. So it was a good amount of work. And I really, really enjoyed it. I love working with my hands, except for right now, but it was a wonderful experience. And then it wasn't until 2012 when I bought the penthouse, and I say penthouse because literally that's what it was advertised as. I bought the penthouse in downtown San Diego in, what was it called? Little Italy. Little Italy, is that what it's called? Yeah. And then I decided, I downsized a lot and I decided to buy my condo in Portland. So I sold that one as well, by the way. And then I sold, and then I bought an apartment or a condo in Portland, Oregon for $140,000 cash. All the other ones I had bought with a mortgage, but I decided, you know what, I'm done with mortgages. So I bought this one in cash in Portland, in the Northwest area. I still have it. I love it, even though the HOA keeps going up, which is kind of expected. But I got a lot for that HOA in return, so I'm kind of happy. For people who own single-family homes, I think you recognize how difficult it can be to maintain your own home. But this is a very small piece of property. It's a studio. It's 350 square feet, so it's very easy for me to maintain. I've fixed everything myself in it, and I feel very comfortable doing so. So that's still there. It's kind of sitting empty. I rent it for a while. If I have a friend or somebody who wants to rent it out, I rent it for a good price. But I knew I wanted to live in Spain. So in Santiago de Compostela, I bought a condo in 2018 or something, or 2019 for, I think it was 2019. I bought it for 90,000 euros. So maybe 120,000 really, once you calculate all the fees and everything for me moving and transferring my money over and paying conversion fees, right, for foreign exchange rates. And it was a good purchase. I still have that condo. Obviously, we lived there. Me and my girlfriend lived there. But we also like that's our base. Like Santiago de Compostela is our base in Spain, but obviously we will travel all over Europe and stay in places that we want. We'll come to Madrid here for me to get my hand surgery, for us to learn Spanish, because they speak a little bit more Gallego, Galician in Santiago de Compostela. And so it's really interesting to have these bases. Like when I'm in Portland, I can still live in any part of the US. But one thing I recognize is that my girlfriend is mostly based out of Southern California, and so she likes to be near her family. She wants to go see her friends, and I have some wonderful friends. My best friend is located in Southern California, and so I want to be able to go to Southern California. I want to be able to go to California. So for those reasons, I think an investment in Southern California made sense to me, and I've thought about it for a long time. I have thought about anything from a small condo to kind of a nicer home in LA, and I know, or San Diego, right? I think they're all Southern California. So the home thing for me makes more sense to do that when I'm maybe more settled in, as in like I have a job that I'm gonna keep and I know I'm comfortable paying a mortgage. It wouldn't affect me because it would be just a small portion of my money. And a condo made sense, but it was really difficult finding condo. In fact, me and my girlfriend lived in Long Beach for a while. I looked there. We lived in Glassell Park in Los Angeles for a while. I looked there. I stayed in Midtown or Mid-City, Culver City, near Culver City. We looked there, Santa Monica, everywhere. Everywhere we stayed, I always looked around for real estate. And not something that I would do very actively, honestly, like once a week for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I would maybe scroll through some of the real estate listings. But then eventually I decided I'm either gonna buy a place here in Madrid, or I'm gonna double down and find a place in San Diego. So I decided, I'm like, where are the cheapest real estate properties right now? And it was Long Beach. Long Beach is what I found. And I wanna kind of give you guys a little bit of insight into the mentality of buying real estate. I think especially as physicians, we believe that we should have the nicest, greatest, best things of anything, right? Of cars, we drive BMWs or Teslas. Our purses are fancy, our clothes are fancy, our road bikes are $10,000. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If that is what you want, that's what you should do. But I think a lot of people, like a lot of you guys who are watching my content are also kind of considering something a little bit different. You're deciding to buck the trend. You're thinking like, maybe I don't have to spend as much money, right? And like, if that's the case, how can I make it still work for me? How can I still enjoy my life? How can I still have the kind of property that I like? And so I'll try to see if I can throw some of these videos on the screen of the properties that I have. I don't like editing videos, I hate it, so maybe I'll just throw it in at the end and just attach it. So we'll see how that works out. But I decided to do it remotely. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go with Long Beach and really be dedicated. So I started looking I went on Google Maps and I searched for realtors in Long Beach, and I found a group that had really good ratings. I went on their website, they had multiple realtors listed. I found this gentleman called Darren. He looked really professional. Sent him an email, he got right back to me, and I said, hey, we talked on the phone. I was still in Santiago de Compostela. I said, hey, Darren, this is my situation. I have a lot of cash. Well, I don't have a lot of cash. My net worth is good. I have over 1 million net worth. I already have 2 pieces of real estate, and I have a lot of investments that I can readily cash out to buy something. Now, back then, when I said this, my private brokerage account, which I always top off. Over the years, I just constantly grow my private brokerage account. And so I had 250 or something like $270,000 in it. So it was at its top. And this is, by the way, just about 2 months ago, right? So we're in October. This is probably, end of August, something like that. And Darren said, all right, let's work together. Let's wait a little bit until you're closer to coming to Long Beach so that we can kind of close everything. And he was kind of hoping to wait until I come to Southern California, end of November, and this is August. And I said, that's not really a big deal to me. If you find any good properties, I'll jump on it right away. So he sent me a listing of about, I want to say 8 units on his MLS portal. And I took a look at it. Immediately 2 stood out to me. One of them was on 3rd Street, and the other one was on, I think, Broadway or something like that. And I know that buying something sight unseen can always be very scary, but I had already decided what my criteria were. I knew that I was going to save a lot by not having parking. And the way I see Southern California changing is that I think having your own car is not going to be as big of a deal. And I know for those of you who live in Southern California, you're like, what the fuck is Dr. Mo talking about? But when I have gone and stayed in Southern California by myself, I have always taken Uber, I've taken public transportation, and it's never been an issue. So I do want to say that it is possible. At least for me, it was possible. So I said, I'm not gonna look for a place that has parking, number one. The second thing is, I think a balcony is always kind of a premium, and I would have liked a balcony, but I don't know if this was going to be my forever home. This was going to be the place that me and my girlfriend land, and we're going to be okay. We're not going to kill each other. We can still go find some jobs, and we can decorate it. We can leave all our shit there, and then if we need to, we can short-term rent it or long-term rent it out, or let friends stay there. That was the idea. So, no balcony, right? No private parking. And the third one that I thought was important is the washer and dryer thing. Now, the washer and dryer thing is kind of an interesting topic because nobody wants to use a common washer dryer unit. I get that. But to have your own washer dryer in your place is, there's a premium for that because for various reasons. So those were the criteria. I sent it to him and I said, somewhere under 500,000. If it's closer to 300,000, I'll buy it cash. If it's closer to 500, I'm probably gonna put 300 down and finance the rest. And I wasn't too comfortable with the 500 thing, 500 range, that was too high. So anyway, we found immediately two units. And in fact, one of the units that I have decided on is the one that I'm in escrow. I am in escrow with or on, I don't know. The first one that I really liked was a one bedroom, really large, almost 800 square foot, with a washer dryer, no parking, but really beautiful, and a patio. It had a patio and really well done, like kind of renovated, not all the way, but renovated pretty well, and it looked great. And it was listed at $460,000. Now the thing was, the market was just changing. In fact, by the time my realtor did a walkthrough, the Fed had announced that the rates are going to go up, and so for that reason, my stocks had just crashed and the interest rates had shot up. In fact, right now I'm probably going to close at about 7.3 or 4% for this property. And so they had listed it for 460,000, but shit's changed. And so I'm like, yeah, dude, like I'll give you 405,000. And they didn't budge. They literally went from 460, I think, down to like 450. So I didn't consider them to be a motivated seller, which is totally understandable. It was a couple who had owned it. I think they had stayed there, maybe rented it out for a little bit. And so I didn't think that they were motivated. I really didn't want to waste any more time, and I didn't think it was worth it, not with this economy. And so the other unit, the one that was listed at 330, it was darker, it was smaller, it was only like, I want to say 700 square feet? Yeah, maybe 700 square feet or something like that. It was smaller. Oh no, I think 580 square feet, there we go. The other one is 580 square feet, but it was also a one bedroom, but certainly less windows, smaller complex, like only, I think like 10 or 12 units in there. The HOA of this one was lower, obviously, so that was good. And it wasn't located in as nice of a place as the larger one, as the more expensive one. So I decided, it was listed at 330. By the way, that goes to show you that you can still buy places for that little in Southern California. Now, some might say like, well, that's not a good neighborhood. It's Long Beach. Nobody likes Long Beach. Well, there are $8 million homes and there's $6 million apartments in Long Beach. The question is, where do you want to be? In fact, there were some other units in even nicer buildings. I just didn't like how big the buildings were. So for those reasons, I decided not to. There was one for 325,000. There was one for 255,000 in a smaller unit, but that wasn't a good neighborhood anymore. This little pocket seemed safe enough and nice enough that I think I would be comfortable from there walking to some of the neighborhoods that I like. And so that was important to me. I want to be able to walk to places. It's got to be safe. It's got to be decent. And so my realtor did the walkthrough. And so to kind of give you an explanation of what the first one, what the cheaper one looked like, when it was listed, the listing was very beautiful. It was, the photos, I'll see if I can throw them up on the screen for you, and they are really nice and decorated, very luminous, etc. But I think that was probably about 15, 20 years ago when these photos were taken. And then later, family had moved in, and I think it was a single mom with like multiple kids. And when my realtor did a walkthrough, it was absolutely scary. I mean, it was scary how, well, yeah, I mean, if you don't have the means and you're busy and well, that's how you live. And so He took some photos of the place. I don't think he did any videos. He may have done some videos, but we'll see if I have those, and I'll upload it for you guys. I don't know if I have it. And it was bad. It was crazy. Like for me, it was like, this is nuts that people could live like this. And the place had changed so much. I was worried that there was a lot of damage. But I knew also that a lot of that damage would be surface damage, and it would be something that is fixable. So later we waited. I didn't make an offer until the family moved out, and then my realtor did a second walkthrough. This time we took more videos, more photos of the place. It's a smaller complex, like I said, like somewhere around 10 or 12 units, and then you go up the stairs to the second floor unit, and it's the top floor. So this is the top floor. I don't have anybody else above me, which means it's going to get a little hotter because it's Southern California, but you can put an air conditioner in the unit. You can put a condenser up on the roof, which is nice. So that's an easy upgrade to make, especially with the split units these days. 3,000 tops you can install. You can get one installed. And you kind of walk in, there's a living room, there's a little area you can put a desk, there's an area that's kind of a kitchen nook, you can actually put a little kitchen table, and then you got the kitchen, which doesn't have a vent, but there is a space to put a vent hood, so I'm thinking about doing that. And there is a gas stove. I usually prefer electrical, so I might convert that over. Just a simple refrigerator and no dishwasher. Then you go around the kitchen, so you go behind the kitchen and you get into the kind of a long hallway with a lot of built-in built-in cabinets, I guess, for clothes. And then you got the bedroom. The bedroom's very straightforward. Also has a built-in closet. You got the bathroom, very straightforward with a tub, and pretty beat up. I mean, I'm talking about the window was rotted because it was old wood window, and it's just rotted. I mean, because of all the water getting in, and obviously the landlord didn't care to fix it, and the tenant probably was desperate enough that they found the place, and literally slumlording is the word that comes to mind. And so, I mean, the unit is not demolished, but it is in horrible state. It's going to need a lot of work. It's got the old porcelain tiles as the kitchen surface. It's got like a really low flow, grifa, what is that thing called? The water comes out. The faucet is low flow because it's old galvanized pipes, and so the whole HOA would have to agree with it. The HOA is self-managed. That's also kind of both good and bad, usually bad. If there's not a lot of people who care about the units, they just want to rent it out. So a lot of stuff like that. And anyway, again, no parking, but it is on kind of a busier street. So if the windows are open, you're going to get a lot of noise and stuff like that coming in. But some of the windows are dual pane, which is nice. It's going to save a little bit on heating and cooling, etc. And then the bathroom's going to need a lot of work. I think there's a little bit of damage on the tiles, on the floor, from water leakage. The actual sink, I think there's like a little cabinet under it, and that seems to be fully demolished, so that's got to go, that's got to get changed. But all that stuff is really simple stuff that you can do. These days, unfortunately though, finding a handyman or realtor who's willing, not a handyman or a contractor who's willing to come in and do work for that small of an apartment for cheap is practically impossible. So if you can't do it yourself, I could see how that could really raise prices. So I decided to put after Darren did a walkthrough, I decided to put an offer down for $290,000. Now they took forever. They took a week to come back, and they said no, it's too low. And like I don't know. I think they came back at us at 310, and I'm like, no, it's not, it was 330 when they listed it. The place was demolished compared to what it was before. I mean, like very, very much worse than how it was listed once the family moved out. And so I kind of waited. I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I want to put a second offer, because I probably would go from 290 to 295. And then I did actually. So I went to 290. I went to 295, and they're like, look, there's no way we're gonna do it for anything less than 305. And I'm like, you know what? I could go back and forth. I could go to 300. I could do this. I could do contingencies, and I could tell them that they're gonna fix the window. In fact, I had sort of agreed to fix the window in the bathroom, and we said, you know what? Forget it. 305. Sign it now and we'll get into escrow. And we did, and that was great. So like, it was sort of like, yeah, 5 or 10,000 is not gonna change my life. And by that time, unfortunately, a lot of my investments had crashed. Now the good news is, even though my investments had crashed, so let's say from 260,000 down to 190,000, I had still made money. I still was up probably $20,000. So, that's that mentality that you got to get through. It's like, you still made money. You can sell some of this. So I decided not to go in all cash, because then I would also have to cash out some of my other investments, which are in retirement accounts, and that adds some other fees, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I just didn't want to do it. And a mortgage of somewhere around, 50% down, or 40% down was still okay with me. Now, remember, I make my money kind of consulting and my own business, so that's always difficult to get a loan. But when you're this low, it's not as much of a problem. So now we're in escrow, and I'm waiting, and somewhere early November, the escrow is going to close, and I have to submit a ton of documents and everything, and I got to do, I had to fill out a wet signature and mail it to them, which cost me 60 euros here from Madrid, and then I got to go to the consulate and do a final, what is it called, a notary, I think, notary signature. So those are some of the things that I think are kind of stressful, not stressful, but they're like tedious. But I guess something that I want to focus on, let me put this down because my arm's killing me. And something that I want to focus on is that, look, if real estate is one of those things that gives you anxiety, you're like, I must have real estate. I'm a doctor. I need to have real estate. You're not an adult until you have real estate, right? These are the things that we hear. My life would be perfectly fine if I never had real estate. All my money would be in investment accounts. In fact, I would say my net worth would probably be very, very close to $2 million right now if I didn't have real estate. For me, the real estate is a luxury. I want that Portland apartment. I bought it for 140. It crashed down to, it went all the way up to 280, and it crashed down to 120, 125, I want to say. And that's because a lot of stuff happened in Portland, Oregon. My unit in Santiago de Compostela, I bought it for 90, even though I spent 125. The price was 90, and it probably is worth 150 euros right now. So, I mean, it went up, but this is not important to me. I could give a shit. I could care less. Even if the 90 went down to 10,000 euros, I don't care, because I want to live there. And I think that's something important to consider. But again, I'm trying to say that, like, I would be richer if I didn't have real estate. Now, somebody might say, well, you just didn't make good real estate choices. That is absolutely possible. But I want to also give you a sense of what it's like to go through the process of purchasing. When I brought it up with my girlfriend, there was a lot of resistance. What? Long Beach is this area bad? That's bad. Like, oh God, that's so ugly. That's so this, that's so that. This isn't because she was mean. This isn't because she was, like, had ill intentions. It's just that I totally understand that people's emotions get involved when you purchase a piece of real estate. When in fact, I look at a real estate as like, is there safety? And is there a roof over my head? And is it fairly clean? Clean meaning, like, if your other neighbors all have cockroaches and bed bugs, well, that's what you're gonna get, But if those things aren't there, you're probably gonna be all right. If your neighbors are like party, gung-ho, drugs, alcohol, shoot guns in the air on 4th of July, you're probably gonna have a hard time in those places. You might be okay with it. I don't know. Well, I don't know who the fuck is listening to this and watching this shit, but some of you might be okay with it. I wouldn't. I wouldn't last in that kind of environment. But worst case scenario, I'd rent it out. Like, well, big loss, I'll just rent it out and I'll make money on it. So those are the things to keep in mind when you make these kind of real estate choices. But then I ran it by some family members, and they were kind of the same, like not that supportive, sort of like, hey, everybody, all my friends that I ran it by, they're like, what's the rush? What's the rush? And I was like, I've been looking for a piece of real estate to buy for the past 3 years. I don't see any rush. Like, well, why don't you wait till you get to the US? Why don't you wait till you get to the US? And I agree, like, the real estate market is changing right now, and everybody, of course, has their predictions, and they're very sure that their predictions are accurate, that real estate is gonna come down. I don't know that. I know that I used it as a way to offer a lower price, and I got a $330,000 place, which, by the way, everything in Long Beach was selling above right before all of this stuff. So there was a change, but I don't know how much of a change. And everybody's saying that, like, oh, all the units are on the market for forever. I don't believe that. I don't buy that. This kind of inflation that we're in is not affecting rich people because they don't have their money in cash. Why would they give a shit? They're making money on their money. So I don't necessarily buy that. And I think sometimes everybody will say, like, oh, do you remember, I don't know, San Diego used to be nothing and ghetto, and this area we're in Lavapiés in Madrid, everybody, like, nobody wanted to live there, it was so disgusting. And now all of a sudden you can't find a nice apartment under 300,000 euros. And the thing is, somebody at some point decided, well, yeah, but it's probably going to be something. And so it's kind of taken that risk a little bit on maybe an up and coming neighborhood. Like maybe there's potential here. Now I'm talking like this neighborhood might become nice in 25 years. 20 years, 15 years maybe, but that's not the point. It is good enough, safe enough that I can invest it. So what I'm trying to say is that you're not going to get support. People are not going to, necessarily your friends, your family, are not going to be on board with you. You're going to feel guilty that you're cashing out your investments at the lowest of the market. You're buying something, you're thinking you're probably paying too much, you're paying a ton on mortgage, interest rates, you don't know if the unit's going to be good, you've never lived there, you've never stayed there, so all of these fears and things and stuff like that. But that is essentially what investing is, whether it is real estate, whether it is cars, whether it is notes, whether it is peer-to-peer lending, whether it is Bitcoin. All of that is investing. In a way, you kind of have to try these, not have to, but if you're going to do it, you do it and you see what happens. You make a mistake. I know one of my good friends has been trying to buy real estate for the past, I've known her for about 12, 14 years, and for the past 12, 14 years, she's been trying to buy a piece of property to invest in, and she still hasn't. My sister has been trying to buy property to invest in for last 20 years. She hasn't. Always like, oh, I thought, and then the realtor sucked, and yeah, I hear that, but it's like, dude, if you just want to buy something, buy it, get it over, move on, and see what happens and learn from it. And I think this is what this has been. Portland has been a learning experience. Santiago de Compostela has been a learning experience. This one in LA has been a learning experience. I actually looked really aggressively in Joshua Tree for a while, and I came in a little bit late and the prices had gone too high. So yeah, that's a little bit about this real estate experience. So again, I'm kind of in the end of it, towards the end of the stretch, and I think over the next couple of weeks, it's going to close, and my plan is to go in there without any furniture in there, do a very thorough cleaning, maybe kind of get to know the neighbors a little bit, and then paint and fix a lot of stuff, make it very livable, fix a lot of stuff, and then throw in some furniture, keep it simple, keep it kind of cute, and see if my girlfriend's willing to move in there. She might not, and guess what? Those are the things that we're gonna have to come across, so we're gonna have to deal with, and hopefully we'll both agree on something, and we'll say, okay, well, let's just put it up for rent, or I don't know how that would turn out, but I think it'll turn out fine. I think we have a good track record of making these decisions together. A part of me thinks that the other investment would still be a really, really good investment if I had bought the one for $460,000. I think we probably would have agreed somewhere at $425 if I, was good about. But with my income, I needed to come down. I needed to come up with like $230,000. $230,000. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to give up $230,000. I don't think it would have been a big deal, honestly. When I think about it, a place is nice, but I don't want a place that's nice, because then I want to stay there, and I don't want to stay there. I don't want to stay in Long Beach. What the fuck? I want to be able to still travel and go to places. I still have. Not travel. I don't want to travel. I just want to go live in other places. And so I don't think that was the right unit for me. I would highly recommend it to anybody who is thinking about buying it, but yeah, for me it wasn't the right thing. So I hope this is helpful, guys. This is just the way I do my investments. This is the way I think about things, and I'm just kind of sharing it with you. And I think it is a very vulnerable place for me, to be honest, because I get so scared when I make some of these decisions, and I feel like, holy shit, nobody has my back. Like, everybody thinks this is a bad idea. Everyone's like, no, you should wait. And like, no, you shouldn't cash out. And it's like, but I remember this with the Portland apartment. Like, everyone said, why are you in a rush to buy in Portland? And I was like, I don't understand it. I had lived there for a year renting, and I'm like, what's this rush stuff all about? And then Madrid, oh my God. When I was buying in Spain, everybody's like, why would you buy in Spain? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you buy in Spain? 90,000, that's so much money. And like, really, it was nothing less than 90,000. So I understand it. I know they care. They care, but it's like, shit, man, it's scary. Guys, if you have questions, email me, drmo@digitalnomadphysicians.com. Remember the free Friday Q&As that I do every Friday. It's going to be at 8 a.m., I think, Pacific time, And that's a great time to ask me any questions for free. Ask me anything regarding to medicine. You have to be a physician to be on that, by the way. I prefer to just do it with physicians for now. And I hope I can help. Take care. Peace.